Throughout all of gaming history, few franchises have stirred up as much speculation, confusion, and downright terror as Five Nights at Freddy's. With its blend of horror, mystery, and addictive gameplay, FNaF has carved out a niche in the gaming world, becoming a cultural phenomenon. However, amidst all the global success, only one installment stood out, not for its triumphs, but for its missteps and ultimate downfall: fnafvr Special Delivery. fnafvr was released on November 25, 2019, and is set to close down on March 14th of this year. The game was taken off the Google Play Store and Apple Store on February 2nd. Special Delivery was a virtually augmented reality game, where Freddy and the gang would come to your house and attack you. This game is similar to that of Pokemon Go. The only thing you had to protect yourself with was a flashlight, shocker, and a mask depending on the animatronic. In this video, we'll delve into the intricacies of why fnafvr, despite its initial promise and fan excitement, was destined to meet its demise. But before I jump into things, I just want to state that this video was not made to hate or bash on the game. I personally thought fnafvr was a really cool and unique game, and I'll also be talking about what made the game good. But with that being said, I'm also going to cover why it failed. So without further ado, let's just start with what made the game good. What I liked most about Special Delivery was that this game introduced a new style of gaming to FNaF. fnafvr was the first and probably the last AR game in the franchise. I loved the idea of facing off against animatronics in my own house. This made me feel like no matter where I went in my house, I was never safe. The only way I can defeat the animatronics was by shocking them when they charged at me. When I first started playing the game back in 2019, I had no clue what I was doing, as I wasn't in an office. The animatronics were in an open space and they would charge at me at random. This caused me to be constantly spinning around. Special Delivery also gave us new voice lines to animatronics we all know and love. And this game gave the OG Freddy some voice lines, which he never had any before this game. And characters with pre-existing voice lines also got some new ones. I also like collecting Remnant. I thought this was a really cool feature as it gave the game some spice. Collecting Remnant makes your animatronics more aggressive, but unfortunately these were the only things that I liked about the game. So with that out of the way, let's talk about what I didn't like about the game. One of the biggest things I hated about this game was that in order to get the animatronics to come to your house, you had to use lures. To purchase these lures, you had to go to the in-game store and buy them with fast coins. The only problem with this was that you had to buy these fast coins with real money. And man, the fast coins were super expensive. 500 fast coins costed you $5, 1200 fast coins costed you $10, 2600 fast coins costed you $20, 5400 fast coins costed you $40, 8700 fast coins costed you $60, and 15,000 fast coins costed you $100. These prices were outrageous. Now I understand that mobile games have to charge a lot to stay afloat, but there's a bigger problem here than monetization, and that is there wasn't much to buy. The most common thing people were buying were lures and batteries, as these were the things that would drain the quickest. When you bought lures, they only gave you 3. Now this isn't ideal to the people who were first starting the game, as they didn't know what they were doing. I would have preferred if they gave out 5 lures instead of 3, as this would give us more attempts to figure out the animatronics mechanics. And on the topic of things being expensive, the game as a whole wasn't cheap whatsoever. The game was full of add-ons and DLCs. Each DLC costed you $20 for only like 30 minutes to an hour worth of content. Most people, including myself, don't want to empty our life savings while playing a game. Don't get me wrong though, each DLC was incredible. Illumix did a great job on them, but they were way too overpriced. And this doesn't include the purchasable plush shoots that you can buy from the in-game store. The Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Balloon Boy mini packs were 650 tokens, which equals $10 a pack. In my opinion, that is way too much for one pack. Now imagine if you wanted to buy all 5. That would cost you $25 to $30. Circus Baby's pack was 1,250 tokens, which equals to $10 to $15. Springtrap's pack was 2,500 tokens, which equals $20. Toy Chica's pack was 4,200 tokens, which equals to $40, which is way too overpriced for one mini pack. And the packs for Toy Freddy and Toy Bonnie were 2,300 tokens, which equals $20. If you wanted to buy both Toy Bonnie and Toy Freddy, that would cost you $40. These prices are absolutely ridiculous, and this excludes the special event packs that Illumix occasionally made, such as Plush Trap and Mangle. Now an argument could be made that you can save up for these packs by watching ads and playing events. But realistically, this would take you ages to do, and I don't think most people would do this. If anyone did this, this would take at least a week and if not a month depending on the pack. And I would know because I did this once. I was saving up to buy Bonnie and that took me a week to do. I feel like Illumix was a little too focused on making a paycheck rather than giving FNAF fans enjoyable and affordable content. Illumix rarely updated the game. They were super active when the game first came out, but as time went on, they stopped updating the game. And when we did get something, it was either overpriced or buggy. The last update we got for the game was in November of 2021, which was 2 years ago. And this update was the Dark Circus DLC. So this means that fnafvr survived 2 straight years of inconsistent updates. That is absolutely shocking. I believe that the Dark Circus was only created to revive the game, but clearly that didn't work. The Dark Circus was supposed to be the first piece of episodic content for the game, but the irony with this was that this was the last. With the release of the Dark Circus DLC, Funtime Freddy was also added to the game. Lefty was supposed to be added as well, but I'll get into that in a bit. And this was the last update that the game received. The Dark Circus was an impressive sign of what fnafvr could have been. The core gameplay revolved around standing in your room, spinning around trying to figure out where the animatronic was. This style of gaming was innovative, but not ideal. Let me explain. In Pokemon Go, you had the ability to go out into the world and find Pokemon, and you can also meet up with other people and catch Pokemons together. But fnafvr doesn't do this. In Special Delivery, you have to be standing in one place. And whenever an animatronic charged at you, you had to shock it. Sometimes in facing off against an animatronic, the screen would go staticky. This only depended on the animatronic. And in order to get it off of your screen, you had to shake your phone up and down really quick. If you faced off against any of the toy animatronics, you were given a mask to defend yourself with, just like in FNAF 2. And you couldn't fight an animatronic with other people. The closest thing we got to this was sending an animatronic to attack your friends in the game. I really feel like this was a missed opportunity to make something great, but then again, the game was not bad. It just had its flaws like every other game. Special Delivery definitely would have lasted longer if they had updated it frequently. I also noticed that whenever I tried shocking the animatronics, there was a delay, and the animatronic would end up jump scaring me before the game had time to register that I'd used the shock button. This was extremely frustrating for me, because this was the #1 way how I lost my streaks. I also want to know if you guys had this problem as well, so let me know in the comments down below. Another thing I didn't like about fnafvr was all the scrap content that was in the game files. We were supposed to get Lefty for Special Delivery, but we never did. Lefty was fully finished in the game files. By this I mean he was fully coded, fully animated, fully modeled, and there was teasers for him as well. But Illumix never released him, and I don't know why. You would think Illumix would release Lefty with the game being on its final month before shutting down, but it appears that will never happen. They also scrapped the majority of Vanessa's backstory and a laundry list of teasers for Security Breach as well. Everything we know about Vanessa's possession, the transition from Help Wanted to Security Breach, her relation with her co-workers, how she got glitch-trapped into the Pizzaplex, and her changing personality was all found in the cut emails that were supposed to be teased in fnafvr. But for some reason they left some of the emails between Lewis and Vanessa. Lewis is the guy that Vanessa talks about in Security Breach, but for some reason they suddenly stopped doing it right in the middle of the story. It really disappoints me to see all the unused content because it had so much potential to make fnafvr a really good game. The last thing I want to talk about is the amount of unnecessary reskins we got for certain characters. What I mean by this is that Springtrap and Bonnie got 4 reskins whereas some characters didn't even get 1. Bonnie's reskins were Chocolate Bonnie, Easter Bonnie, Melted Chocolate Bonnie, and Blackheart Bonnie. Springtrap got a variety of reskins that I thought were really creative. These were Toxic Springtrap, Flaming Springtrap, Clown Springtrap, and Curse Springtrap. Chica and Freddy also got a handful of reskins too, which I don't mind. The only reskins I didn't like were Frostbear and Black Ice Frostbear. The reason being is that they look the exact same with only slight differences. Chicas were fine in my opinion. I was personally a fan of Liberty Chica and Red Riding Hood Chica. While I thought these skins were really cool, I would have preferred new characters like the Glam Rocks, the Rockstars, and the Mediocre Melodies, instead of getting reskins of the pre-existing characters. I think Illumix missed a great chance to make their game relevant again by adding in the Glam Rock animatronics after the release of Security Breach, but honestly it is what it is. So what caused fnafvr's Special Delivery to fail? Well, there's a laundry list of things that caused it to fail over time. For starters, the game rarely received any updates, which was the final nail to the coffin. The skins were repetitive and Illumix wasn't releasing anything new. And on the topic of things being repetitive, the gameplay was the same for the most part. The only times we got something new with the gameplay was when a DLC or an event was released. The amount of things that were scrapped played a huge factor as to why the game failed. The scrap content in this game had the potential to make Special Delivery huge, fun, and unforgettable, but I wanted to voice my dissatisfaction with the game. And again, I'm not making this video to hate or bash on the game, and I'm also not dissing or trying to throw shade at illumix. I personally think illumix has a really talented team, and I really do believe that they are going places. And if illumix ever sees this, which they probably won't, I hope they can learn something from this experience. It's been really fun to play your game, and I wish them the best of luck on their future projects.